Hey, welcome to the second course. This is our lyrics breakdown, our deep dive into the song The Non-Fiction Days from the 2016 album from BAND-MAID called Brand New Made. So let's hop on over. Myself and my pimple welcome you. Here's what we have for the Non-Fiction Days. Summary says, The Non-Fiction Days is one of BAND-MAID's earliest deep-cut introspective tracks, a portrait of doubt, identity, and the exhausting weight of reality. It's the feeling of being trapped inside your own head, questioning what's real, what's performance. The lyrics wrestle with guilt, both were in the wrong, isolation, even in my room, and the poison of unspoken words. But beneath the heaviness is a fight for authenticity, a desire to stop borrowing other people's standards and finally define oneself. This song marks BAND-MAID's beginning to embrace emotional complexity without sacrificing intensity. All right, so let's take a look here. As always, we have the refined or the flowing translation, and then we do still have the literal translation here and some translation notes we can get into down at the bottom. But it says, which one is the broken clock? You know, I get to choose. But honestly, both sides were in the wrong. Okay. I've only ever judged good and evil by borrowing someone else's rules. Which one is the broken clock? So which one of us is at fault, essentially, is what it sounds like. You know, I get to choose. But honestly, both sides were in the wrong. I've only ever judged good and evil by borrowing someone else's rules. That's interesting. It's like instead of deciding for herself, okay, this is interesting. Both were guilty. Only by borrowing someone else's standards can I decide good or evil. Whenever I'm alone, the doubt creeps in. Am I really here in the way I think I am? Which would be, really tie into the title there of Non-Fiction Days, this idea of living in the real world. Because obviously fiction goes with fake, non-fiction. That's how I always remembered it when I was a kid. So instead of living fictitiously, living non-fiction. These are heavy non-fiction days. That's a really interesting way. I always appreciate with an artist when they can convey a concept using a creative term or creative vehicle in which to do that. So this idea of non-fiction days, just a really interesting vehicle to deliver this idea of like the real world, maybe the real weight or consequences, or, in some ways it's almost that idea of like a relationship at first can almost feel fictitious, but there's a point in which, not to say, that the butterflies have to disappear or whatever, but we all know in a relationship, it moves to this place of a maturity in your love and care and affection for one another, that yes, you still fight for those butterfly moments and that you're surprised by them at times, but there's even something deeper and more powerful about your commitment in the norm of everyday life. With this habit of lying, the words I can't say turn into poison inside of me. So this is like kind of living in a fake way of lying, putting on a front, the words that I can't say because she's lying. She's not saying the words that she wants to say. So they turn into poison inside of her. Such brutally tough nonfiction days. Man, they doubled down. Heavy nonfiction days, such brutally tough nonfiction days. I'm not slick enough to fake it, and I can't even laugh. Is someone controlling me in these nonfiction days? Even inside my own room, don't fight myself. See, this is interesting too. It's almost like she's even talking about not just putting on a front for other people, but almost like losing herself in a way, because even in her own room, even in her solitude, it's like she doesn't even fully feel like she's fully there, in that she's almost lost herself, not just around other people. Because there's one thing about, like, I'm not saying being fake in front of people, but you don't always let out all of your emotions and all of what you're thinking in front of everyone. So there's this ability to be in full control of yourself, full confidence of yourself, and then exercise discretion in public, but it doesn't feel like you've lost yourself. And then there's that side that's just like, dude, who am I? And that's a scary place, or a sad place to be in. My heart gets stained, colored after the fact. Words cut deeper than swords, even ones spoken lightly. So it's not even about necessarily yelling, but the content of the words are so cutting. I bite down hard on the rust I caused myself. Do you even know what being unreasonable means? Bite down on the rust I caused myself. Let's go see. I crunch down on the rust that came from myself. I wonder if there's a... Okay, there's no mention of the rust within here. Oh, wait, here. You cause this a set expression, meaning you cause this yourself. These are your consequences. BAND-MAID intensifies it by adding biting the rust. So you cause this yourself. Back up here in verse 2. It's an interesting term. Do you even know what being unreasonable means? Even if I start from the outside, if I finish building myself, maybe I'll see what's inside. You guys give me your thoughts on this. Maybe if there's a way to, obviously I can understand what's being conveyed, but as far as, I don't know, bringing a little more clarity to that, I'd be interested in y'all's thoughts. Even if I start from the outside, if I finish building myself, maybe I'll see what's inside. These are heavy nonfiction days. Even if I look away, reality pretends to be fake. That's just how nonfiction days go. I question myself over and over, performing a role every time. No matter how transparent, nonfiction days still exist. Closer today than yesterday. Don't fight myself. I wonder if this means like closer today than yesterday, this idea that she's working herself out of these, I don't know, working herself toward. I'm a little tied up here. Because now I'm starting to, I guess nonfiction days, I mean, ultimately it's just, the reality of life. So I'd wonder what she's meaning here, closer today than yesterday, and if that just kind of ties into the rest of the song of feeling like she's being more true to herself, because that does fall in with this idea of not fighting herself. Give me my name. Oh, okay. Call me loudly. After I threw everything away, the only thing left was these two hands. I can't take these nonfiction days, my lying habit, the poison spreading from unspoken words. These days are too tough. Not anymore. Everything I see is a heavy nonfiction day, even when I look away. Reality pretends to be fake. That's how these nonfiction days always are. Question myself again and again, still performing. Even if transparent, nonfiction days still exist. Closer today than yesterday, don't fight myself. There's a part of me that's questioning if my idea of what she means about a nonfiction day is spot on, because it doesn't sound like she's trying to escape nonfiction days. Like escape days that feel like reality. Let me see if there's anything further down here. So a poetic phrase meaning days where reality is too heavy, too raw, too real. So yeah, I mean, that's what I assumed. So my thought around what this represents is right. I guess I'm just struggling with figuring out where she feels like she fits or what she's trying to accomplish within those heavy days. And obviously questioning herself within them. Yeah, this was like that sad line, because your room, the feeling of like it's a type of sanctuary, but feeling like even there you have no sanctuary because you don't know who you truly are. Give me my name, a cry for identity. Call me something that proves I exist. The outer moat. That's cool. Culturally means start from the outside and work inward to understand the core. Huh, that's interesting, because typically you work from the inside out in ways. But I get, it can work on the outside in as well. I mean, there are things you can put into action or things that you can change that begin to work itself in. But typically I feel like most of the times you do the inner work and then it works itself out. Again, the thing I keep being really surprised by in all of these songs is that it seems there's so little, generally, not every song, that is repeated. The ideas build upon each other, and it really does feel like there's constantly this story being unfolded throughout the whole song, which I guess is not uncommon in certain genres, but I don't know why it stands out to me so much every time we're looking at these BAND-MAID songs. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comments on it, your thoughts on the song, on the lyrics, if there's anything you want to talk about or anything you feel like maybe I missed. I look forward to getting into it. Thanks for being with me for this one. I hope to see you in the next one, because reading good.